Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and now welcome to episode 422 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here on this day. I'm sorry I'm starting a little bit late, dealing with a couple of crises, but I'm in the office today. I forgot how long it takes me to sort of set up the room to do streaming, so I had to snag a monitor and snag the whiteboard and my microphone. I'm out of practice from streaming from the office, but I've got it set up and hopefully we're ready to go. So let's get started. What are we doing today? Yeah, it's December 10th, 2025, episode 422. And a reminder, no plan survives breakfast. Today is any indication. I kind of have a sense of what I want to do today. Whether or not it goes correctly, that's something we're going to figure out as we stream. You're just going to watch me deal with it as it comes. So there's not been a whole lot that's pre-planned here beyond sort of a vague sense of what I want to do. And if I get into trouble, if I get stuck, I get sidelined, distracted, etc., an emergency crops up that I have to suddenly jump into, we're just going to deal with that as it comes. That's the first thing. Second thing is this agenda that we're looking at, which has handy-dandy links, etc., is available to you, and it will be in a different place depending on where you're watching this stream. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, it'll be down in the details section over there on the left side. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's down in the video description. If you're watching this on Twitch, it's down in the channel details. Let's get right into it. Today is episode 422, and I forgot to put a link to the Keanu codes. What is error code 422? Unprocessable content. So today's Keanu code is unprocessable content. Today's episode is brought to you by HTTP error code 422. This is obviously from The Matrix. This is the there is no spoon bending with his brain in The Matrix scene from the first film. Let's see what unprocessable content is. 422 unprocessable content indicates that the server understood the content type of the request content and the syntax was correct, but it was unable to process the contained instructions. So clients that receive a 422 response should expect that repeating the request without modification will fail with the same error. So for example, following example makes a request to update some file contents. The content field is base64 encoded and use new line feed characters every 60 characters with one terminating the string. So it's saying here's an authorization token. Here's the what we will accept, I guess, in the response. This is who we're putting to, and then the response is the server strictly expects 4648 compliant base64. Using strict encoding methods, a 422 unprocessable content response is returned. The message field provides context about the validation error. Apparently, the content here is not properly base64 encoded, or what it expects as base64, and so that's the deal. That's what 422 is, and so you need to reform your content, dog. And I guess. In that case, it's like, yeah, this content is, well, I think it's a bit of a stretch, this image. Okay, well, what do I want to work on today? I want to continue what we were doing last week with, was I calling it hole punching? The component registry thing for NewTab. It's really come along. I want to clean it up and get it posted for review. And I'm hoping we can do that this episode. But before we do that, I wanted to address a question that came in a couple weeks ago from the Rate This Episode forum that I failed to get to last time. So I'm going to do that. I also want to mention next week is the last stream for 2025, the holiday stream. If you've got an idea of something special I should do next week for the holiday stream, that'll be on Wednesday, December the 17th. Do let me know. Should I wear a funny hat? Should I, should we watch some film together and I apply commentary? Maybe we should review some someone else's code together and we explore it, we can do something special. Let me know in the rate this episode form if there's something special you want me to do. I like to do special things for the holiday episode. You know, I hope it's a holiday episode in the good sense, like in the I don't know, what's a good holiday, like, you know how a good TV series might have, a syndicated TV series might have, like, oh, this is the winter holiday episode, this is the New Year's episode, etc. And not like the Star Wars holiday special. I don't want that. I want a good holiday special. So let me know what your thoughts are. Send in your ideas either in the chat or you can send them in with this form. But before we do that, let's get to this question. So the question is, my release version of private browsing was updated with this about config variable, browser private browsing felt privacy v1. I was a little surprised as it isn't default in nightly yet. Just from looking at Bugzilla, it's hard to see initial bugs and what stage feature rollouts and trials are set. Can you give some pointers? Well, let's see. Yeah, you're right. Nightly doesn't have that pref set. It's a little backwards because normally Nightly gets Nightly gets the stuff that's upcoming, and then it flows through the trains. Or in this case, it was set via the sort of experimenter rollout mechanism. And I was looking into this to try and answer this question. So I don't work on this team. The rollout mechanism, let's see if it's in the release notes actually. 146 release notes. Was there something about it? So backup is starting to go out. The weather thing. I don't know if it was put into the release notes. I know that it was worked on for a while as part of like the let's improve the privacy, the felt privacy of the browser. Let's retheme it. And if you're curious what I'm talking about, if you have a release instance of Firefox, what was the pref? Asks SmurfD. It was browser private browsing felt privacy v1. So I'll drop that in the chat. This is what it looks like. So it's like a more vibrant sort of gradient, and the style is a little different, and you know, it's a little. I'd say it looks better if we compare the two. Let's compare and contrast. Here's what's in Nightly on the left. Here's what's in release on the right. How do I get these? I think if I close this window, I can get both up. There we go. So, you know, a fairly clear, stark difference between the two. But the primary difference, I'd say, is in the background gradient. The call out for, you know, if you're privacy centric, you might be interested in focus on mobile. So you've got like a dismissible sort of call to action here. I believe it looks like we've rejigged some of the language here and what a private window does. And the search input is kind of more, there's more of a vibrant pop there, but it's otherwise the same. And I guess we get rid of the icon, and it just tells you in the text whether or not you're searching with Google. So that seems to be the difference. And why didn't it go out to Nightly first? I don't know. If I had to guess, let's see if we can find out. Let's search Bugzilla. Let's do a quick search for felt privacy. Felt privacy. So there's a I know that they're also working on improved certificate error pages, new network error pages that they're working on. Felt privacy private browsing gradient is too bright in dark mode. This was apparently marked as new. That's fairly recent. secret saying. This is for Android. Oh, okay. Opening a new private window shows the old private window start for a page, causing a bad perceived performance. This is from 2023, so I don't know if this is still valid. But this pref has been around for a while. And here's the meta bug. Felt privacy v1. And when is there a bug to data clearance? Rollout plan. Project is completed. All depending bugs are closed 5 months ago. I have a feeling that there's a bug somewhere. Oh, here we go. Simplified UI. 2 years ago. 5 months ago. This was resolved fixed. There's still open bugs. Pocket button display in private window. What am I looking for? I'm looking for... Well, let's also check Searchfox. What was that pref? The white background on the Fastly loading page hurts your eyes. Yeah, I know. We had to... So you may or may not have noticed that if like you go to, I don't know, hg.mozilla.org, you may get one of these like Fastly pages. Now this is a bright white page, so you're gonna get the brightness anyways. But that is part of the like, hey, we're trying to filter out bad traffic. We're paying Fastly to help us filter out like DDoS attempts and sort of non-human traffic or unexpected traffic. That's what that's all about. I wanted to see if there's like a bug. Remove pocket button. This is back in 2023. I am certain that there is a bug to let this ride the trains, because I asked a person about this because of this question. And I think the answer was, yes, they want to do it, but there are some automated tests where the tests are wrong, and they need to, like the tests are also testing the old mechanism or the old look and feel, and they need to update the tests or disable the tests. Maybe it's on Jira only. Unlikely. If it's work for desktop, I suspect it would be in Bugzilla. Like there'd be like there'd be a Jira entry, but there'd also be a Bugzilla bug for it. But I think if I remember correctly, it was, yeah, we're trying to do this real soon now, but there are some tests that are breaking whenever we flip the pref because they expect the old thing. We need to find time to fix those things. In the meantime, let's get the better theming out to people on the release channel where most people are. And then once we have a moment to catch our breaths and fix those tests, we can land the pref and let it ride the trains normally. And then you turn off the release rollout. That's generally, like, that's how some of these things work, is you try and impact the greatest population. In this case, I think the idea is we're trying to really kind of like get people to understand what private browsing doesn't do, and also the call to action for focus is kind of is important. We want to like get more people using mobile, get more people using a Firefox product on their mobile devices, and that means there's more Gecko out there. And if you're using a private browsing window, chances are Firefox Focus might kind of be something that you're interested in. So I think that's all kind of like part of it. So I don't know if I've answered your question, whoever asked that. But the idea is we want to flip that pref and let it ride the trains. And I think there are just some tests that are kind of getting in the way. And someone made a judgment call and they're like, okay, remotely flip the pref on release. Once we fix the tests, we'll let it ride. And if you're curious, if you want to turn it on yourself manually, this is the preference to do it. You can flip that in nightly or on beta, and you'll get the new look. So that's just from looking at Bugzilla, it's hard to see the initial bugs and what stage feature rollouts and trials are at. Can you give some pointers? Yeah, unfortunately, the experimenter page, the thing that we use to like do rollouts and experiments, is behind LDAP, and I can't show it to you. But you can take a look at what you are enrolled in. If you open up your About Studies on release, there'll be something in here that's like... wait, is this... Oh yeah, this is beta. Let me launch release. Private window visual refresh. So it just sets the private window background, and if you want, you can like disable it from here. But that's kind of how it works. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I can't find the bug to flip the pref and have it ride. I can't say I'm too that constellation of bugs we just kind of leafed through. It wasn't very clear. Like it looked like there was a meta that was closed, but there's some stuff that's still open on it. After here, I'm gonna take a to-do. Find the bug that flips the pref by default and attach it to this agenda. So I have a to-do there. All right. So after this episode is done, come back to this agenda and hopefully you'll see the bug in here. Because I'm fairly certain it exists because people were talking about it in Matrix. Okay, so what do we want to work on? I want to keep going with what we were working on before, which is this the pilot hole to add the component registry. If you haven't, maybe I don't super want to go back and re-explain everything that we're doing, but basically the TLDR is we want to make it easier for other teams to embed components inside of NewTab without having to like write into the NewTab code base. And so, for example, the search team owns this thing, the search input, and currently when they want to update it, they have to like go into NewTab and like update the UI. And what we'd like and what they'd like is if they could own the search component and then we just kind of like bring it in. We bring it in. And so we'd come up with like a scheme for that. There was a sort of a mechanism that we piloted out. We've got like the UI is all factored so that it is self-contained. And then I've got, where is it? Over here. Hang on, let me revert. We've got now this like delegation occurring where we say, okay, put whatever is called search, put whatever that is here. And this is within the NewTab code. And then elsewhere, the search team has their registrant over here. And they say, okay, well, I'm of type search. This is the component I want you to put in there. And these are some CSS variables I want you to set on it. And so this is something that the search team can control. And the NewTab team, there's like this little handshake that occurs. We go through all of the registrants, and the registrants are made available, like the NewTab code is made available of the registrants through the component manifest. And non-initialization, we read through all the registrants, we grab this information, and then we populate, like the NewTab content area becomes familiar with what's been registered, and then whenever it sees an external component wrapper of this particular type, it goes, oh, well, let me put this in then. So this is very simple. It's not like a very mature component registry. It's extremely simple, but it's a good start, and I want to try and clean it up so we can try and get it landed. Hang on a second. I'm just opening up something else over here. Someone just asked me something, and All right, that's under control. What do we want to clean up? Well, the first thing I want to check is what this is all about. This missing Chrome or resource URI. I've noticed this error message, and I want to deal with this first. So let's figure out what... I have a feeling this is from earlier in the stack, but I'd like to search around and see where this is coming from. So I'll go ahead and quit the process, and let's do a git grep for that exact URL, because we have converted this into, aha, okay, I see, in base.jsx. Ah, I see. It's this thing. It's the else condition here. So we actually want to update this. If not, then do these things. Do neither of them if external components are enabled. I believe if we build faster. Okay, and now let's see if that error message went away. All right, did I see the error message go away? Yes, I did. That's good, and that all still works. Great. Okay, so what else did I want to clean up? Let's start putting together a to-do list on what is left to do to clean this up. So if I fold in what we just did into the patch, let us then... Here, let me pull up the font so it's easier for you to read. Let us now take a look at the most recent version of the patch. So at the very least, we want tests. That is one thing that I want. So I'm going to write this out. I need tests for the registry. For the registry, what is it? What are the names? The About New Tab component registry. Tests for the feed, external components feed, and tests for the external component wrapper. So we want those. We are going to want a test for the search component registration to make sure it's happening. Okay, what else do we want? Let's keep looking. There is something in here about validating the configuration that comes in from those get configuration calls, that, yeah, to verify them, or to, I don't know if verify is right, maybe it should be validate, but right now we're just returning true. There's a to do there. So potentially rename validate verify configuration to validate configuration and have it actually do something. In this case, just make sure another search component wasn't already registered. Update JS doc comments. There's one there. That's to do. What else? What else? What else? We should determine if this refresh, determine if external components .refresh is being called at the right time. Right now, it seems to be called too frequently, and I think we're not using Redux correctly. So there's that. Basically, we only want to call external components refresh when this particular prop has changed, not when the base, not when any prop has changed. I think that's what is currently happening. I think we're being a little too chatty. And the external component wrapper, that one I've really tried to document because it's pretty intense. I don't know if this effect was properly thought through. Like, there's an error in set error state. I need to think through the set error state for external component wrapper. Get rid of the erroneous or spurious is the word I'll use. Spurious console.logs. Might want to test on the not that. We probably want to test the external components class. So that's over here. Tests for. So let's put a tests subcategory. Test for external components class in the content area. Okay. And then we need documentation. We need to add documentation. Add some initial documentation. This is what is required. Oh, I just got, so there's a patch that I posted that, is getting... I got a patch for a thing that... okay. I just have to quickly comment on a thing. Hold on a sec. Just bear with me, bear with me. Let's see. So let's start. What do we want to start with? Well, this is not in any particular order. I don't want to start with tests maybe. I'm going to start with, let's get rid of those spurious console logs. Don't need those. So where are the console logs? Some of them are in the external components library. Now, I remember now why I put those there, though. That is what allowed me to determine that the external components refresh method was being called too often. In fact, we can see that if we run this again and take a look at the console. Yeah, it's being refreshed way too often. Like, anytime the state changes, I think it's being refreshed. Like, if I were to open up the... Yeah, that's way too often. We don't want to be doing that. We only want to do it if the external components prop itself is updated. So I want to do that first before I get rid of those console.logs. So how do I do that? I just kind of hacked this together. I'm no like React Redux expert, but I wanted it so you want to do it only whenever a particular prop is updated. So let's see what the what is the convention here? React. Notice when prop updated. Like, I think that's exactly that's what React is all about. Is it's supposed to be like doing that for you. It notices whenever a prop has been updated and then will, or maybe that's what Redux is supposed to do for you. React is really just supposed to be a function that takes in a state and produces a DOM representation using like virtual DOM diffing. And Redux is this store of state that changes over time, that actions get dispatched on, and then those actions cause a reducer to produce a new state, which is then passed into the React blah, 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 blah. Will it react to your action? Great question. So right now what's happening is we are reacting too often. We are reacting whenever any prop changes, which is way too aggressive. Way, way too aggressive. So how do we notice when a particular prop changes? Particular prop changes. And again, I'm just kind of learning. React doesn't watch the change of object or variables. In fact, you have to notify React that some value changes by set state or state hook, and then React will handle the virtual DOM diff and re-render the real DOM only in need. React's one-way data flow reacting to prop changes. Hooks allow a component to be built as a function without need for classes, only on state, blah, 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 blah. Now that the component has everything ready to create the highlight, all it needs is called set update when the text prop has been changed. Use effect. Takes two. The first is the function execute, the second is the optional array of variables that, when changed, will trigger execution of the function. If the hook is called no second parameter, the function will call every time the component is updated. The component will require two effect hooks. The first is to be called only when the text prop has been updated. And if there's no highlight progress, and if not, we'll call set update function defined in the previous section. Woof. Is this really how this is done? What about a class component? Because I think we mostly use class components. Both and a method called update notify. Update notify. So if look at this formatting. So you have a state. If there's an update timer, return. Otherwise, you set the state, and then you set a different state on a timer. Update timer. And you set the state background color. So you call set state on yourself. When a class component is updated, component did update method is called. The first parameter for this method is the props before the update. So testing whether a prop has changed can be done here. For this component, the method will look like this. Now here's the problem. What we are passing, what we're getting, is an array. It's not a primitive. Notice when an array prop changes. All data that's dynamic needs to be managed by React. Put your event inside the component and update local state. Use state keys, initial keys. Use effect on key press. Append set keys to be whatever were the keys. Ugh. React cannot see state changes out of its built-in functions. Oh, this is not what I'm good at. I've seen, like, what is the connect thing? Dot connect. I've seen this pattern. Dot connect. Connect. What is connect? From React Redux. Redux. Connect. Connect. It provides its connected component with the pieces of data it needs from the store and the functions it can use to dispatch actions to the store. It does not modify the component class passed to it. Instead, it returns a new connected component class that wraps the component you passed in. Map state to props. The map state to props deals with Redux store state and dispatch package respectively. Map dispatch to props. Return maps. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So you call connect, and then state, you pass in state to props. And then, so I guess this becomes props on base. So, props. I see. So, equals connect. Card is connect state platform. State dot prefs platform. So that's how you connect a React component. I don't want to be connecting necessarily a React component. What I want is to have a particular class, in this case, the external components class here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I want this to be updated. Is this even necessary? Now that I think about it, if it's just part of the state, this class might not be necessary. What do you pass to connect? You pass in. And what does it return? The object, normally referred to as state props, will be merged as props to your connected component. Oh, my brain. Okay. And then, so this, I'm going to try something. What happens, there's like, this is happening in the constructor. We refresh on the constructor, and elsewhere we refresh on component did update. What is used? What is the pattern elsewhere? Component did update. Content section. This thing's not connected to anything. It just has some props set on it. Did mount. Did update. Set pref on preference select. We set pref. That would probably cause the did update on preference select, which happens when you toggle something. And we set the preference on self, and we set the drawer margins. Okay. How about the customize menu? The customize menu Connects to the discovery stream state. Does this thing get called every time? Like, is that just the way it is? If I do component did update. Customize menu updated. I got a feeling this doesn't get called. It is. It's always called. So is that just the way it is? Is like, if I do anything, if I open up, I don't know, the menu here to edit. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. These are causing state updates. This one will, obviously, but opening this doesn't cause it. It's only when customize menu is updated. Is there something that sets state from the parent? Just thinking here. Is there a way to put like what is the convention to subscribe to just a particular thing being updated? Because we have reducer here. So we can know when just this is updated. Right? I feel like that's true. Like, can you connect Redux, connect non-React component? Connect a non-component class to a Redux store? The connect function is not going to work with anything other than React components. What we can do is pass the store instance to your class and call store dispatch, get state, and subscribe. Store.subscribe. What is Redux subscribe? Subscribe. How do you subscribe? Alright, custom observe store utility. Store is also observable. You can subscribe to changes with libraries like RxJS. Invoke the function returned by subscribe. Okay, so you pass it a listener. It'll be called any time an action is dispatched and some part of the state tree may potentially have changed. The listener should only call dispatch either in response to user actions or specific conditions. Subscriptions or snapshots just for every dispatch call. The listener should not expect to see all state changes, as the state might have been updated multiple times during nested dispatch. It is a low-level API. So it is very chatty, maybe by design. I kind of wonder if, like, external components is just superfluous. The because really it's just holding on to the components. It's not doing anything with them. This may be superfluous. In which case, all external component wrapper needs to do is go through the store you go through the store. You don't go through this sort of like intermediary class. Let's try that. Let's try that because we've got, how do we connect .jsx export. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this external component wrapper. And then what you do is you export const external component wrapper equals connect. And then I guess I have to supply connect from React Redux. And then state, and then external components, state.external components, and then you pass external component wrapper. And then instead of going through external components.values, how's this good? Do we ever do this with like the function version of, let's see here. This is the class version of a component. I want to find the function version. So under function, yeah, here we go. Base props. So it becomes external components type class name. So external components equals external components. Let's see what that does. I am skeptical, but let's see. Just trying to, I have to answer someone's questions. So that does not work. And external components.find is not a function. Let us debug. Oh, right, because it's external components.components. Okay. Hang on. Config components. All right, so that works. Now, I don't think we need this external components library at all now. I don't think we need this. So then we can go ahead and just get rid of it. I think we're doing things more Reacty now. Browser, extensions, new tab, content, source, lib. Yeah, I don't think you need it anymore. One less thing to build, one less thing to test. Ooh. Oh, right. And I don't need it inside of here anymore. We don't need to external components. We don't need to call this anymore. Don't need to wire that up anymore. I think if that still works, that is like, that feels like we're going with the flow, so to speak. No, failure. External components is not defined. Oh, yeah, there's also another reference to it. Sorry. Is that it? Yeah, okay, that is it. Just here. Ruh-roh. I might have to end the stream just a little early. I'm getting lots of requests for things. There might be an upcoming meeting that I have to go to that starts right on the half-hour mark that I need to prepare for. So if this works, which it does, then I think we're in good shape. We can now update our to-do list. We don't need this anymore because that doesn't exist anymore. We got rid of the spurious console logs. We don't need to worry about external components refresh. We can actually call that done. Update JS doc. Maybe we can do that. Let's just do the JS doc comments now just to close this out. The ones I want to add are inside of the external components. About new tab components here. So there's two things I want to do. We're going to rename this to validate configuration. The second thing is I want to currently the only validation just is to ensure that something isn't already registered with that same type. This might change, this rule might change, evolve over time if we start allowing multiples of a type. Like, for example, well, I'll not give an example. If this dot registered components dot, what is it? That's a map. And a map you use has. If map dot registered components has configuration dot type. If not configuration dot type, return false. some kind of, well, I think what we'll do is we expect a new type component definition. So maybe they shouldn't be called a configuration, but a definition. Validate definition. Or rather, new tab component configuration. Here, we'll update it here. We take a single configuration, ensures that the configuration abides by new tabs external component rules. Currently, that just means that two components cannot share the same type boolean. The empty string is not allowed. If we have the type, return false, otherwise return true. And then here returns a copy of the configuration configuration registry as an array of this external consumption. The about new tab component registry is a class that manages a list of components registered, list of external components registered to appear on new tab, the new tab page. The registry is an event emitter and will emit the updated event when the registry changes. Currently, the registry is bootstrapped via the NSI category, via entries in the NSI category manager of name, category name. And this is type, map, string, configuration. The list of registered external component configurations keyed on their type. Currently, we don't allow multiple. And then this is of type map registrars entry right string and an instance of the base component registrant. So that shouldn't be registrars, that should be registrants. Okay, that's that. The list of external mapping of external component registrants instances keyed on their module URI. And then there's probably more we could do here. Iterates the category name, SI category manager category, and attempts to load each registrant registrant's configuration, which creates a new which updates the registered components. Updating this will cause updating the components. The registered components will cause the updated event to be emitted from this class. This method, it will log errors, but is guaranteed to return. But should return. So return even if the configurations, if one or more configurations is invalid. Invalid configurations are skipped. All right. I think I'm going to stop there for now. I have to get going to this, get prepped for this meeting. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, that's starting to take off. All right, I got to get moving. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode 422 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. There is a link to rate this episode here in the agenda. Let me just drop a link there in the chat. Does Mock support aliases? That must be annoying to do the 3 commands dance. What we do have is the ability to add new commands. So one thing I'd love to have, if I ever get the time to just bang it out in a moment, is mock new tab build, which does those 3 commands all at once. Because we already have some new tab specific commands. But these days, yeah, it is annoying, but it's the least of my problems. Anyway, rate this episode form. Link to rate this episode. There you go. Let me know what you thought. I read everything that comes in. If you've got questions like this one, I'll try and answer them on the stream. Yeah, that'd be great. And if you've got ideas on what I should do next week for the holiday episode, do let me know. And then I'm off for 2 weeks for holidays. Yay, winter holidays. All right, well, thank you again for watching 422, and I will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Hold on, gotta get the sound effects ready. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.